If I was to ask you what the best live-action Spider-Man was, what would your answer be? Today.
Bitch.
I wasn't asking you.
Bitch, I don't fucking know. We don't have an audience yet.
Well, you mean to our audience? Mum's watching. If I was to ask you what your favourite Spider-Man was that was in live-action movies, what would your answer be? I know you don't want to answer. Jesus Christ. Now, this is a subject that we've talked about a lot, and we're both on different sides of the spectrum here when it comes to who we think the best Spider-Man is. So as you all know, at this current point in time, all we have is 3 different Spider-Men in the live-action universe, which No Way Home may bring in all 3 of them together in one movie, which I think would be absolutely fucking awesome.
Yes, it'd be amazing.
It would
love
be.
That. I would squeal. I would literally squeal. I'd be sitting in that cinema chair, squeal my tits off.
Oh, it'll be... I reckon it's going to have a bigger reaction than when Kat brought up Mjolnir.
I reckon it would be, because, like, Mjolnir, like, we all seen that coming.
Mm.
Like, a lot of people now they've seen shit, they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, they're losing their fucking minds.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of evidence that
Yeah.
the 2 Spider-Men are with Tom's Spider-Man now.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so good, because I don't know if they're going to be like Peter B. Parker or like the Spider-Man from Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason why... It's just much more anticipated than...
Andrew's Peter B. Parker.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Because when I watched the movie, I'm pretty sure she calls him Peter Benjamin Parker. So,
Okay.
alright.
For those out there who
Wait.
has no idea who Peter B. Parker is...
Is he the one in Spider-Verse?
Yes.
Alright, so spoilers for Into the Spider-Verse. Is he the one that dies?
I think it was less of like a specific person and more of like a... Like, I think they all got a middle name Benjamin. So I don't think Peter B. Parker is someone specific or special.
I don't know.
I guess we'll find out.
Well,
But, yes.
I have seen the screenshot of... I don't know if it's legit or it's photoshopped, but it has Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in the top half of the suit, and he has the trackies, like the one from Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, shit.
I've seen a picture. I don't know if it's legit or not. I haven't actually done research into it.
Oh, those cheeky bastards.
What?
What if we get Andrew Garfield and Toby, but we don't get the Amazing Spider-Man and Sam Raimi Spider-Man version? What if they're just completely different versions? Because if you think about it, we're getting Electro, but it's not going to be the same Electro from Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
True.
It's a different one.
True.
But at the same time, I feel like they wouldn't do that.
They have a very big grey area that they can fill in with a lot of
Yeah.
what they want.
Yeah.
Because they got the little universe in their hands.
Yeah.
They can literally make anyone come into the universe or the multiverse.
At least for as long as Sony and Marvel are partners.
Yes.
Until then.
Well, it seems like they made a very big partnership in
Yes.
the new
The new agreement that they made.
Venom.
Yes, actually.
Yes, very.
Post-credit scene of Venom, which if you haven't seen it yet...
Go watch it, or just try to wait. Just avoid
Yes.
this.
Yes. Or if you don't care about spoilers, keep listening on. But what happened in the post-credit scene of Venom was a hell of a fucking lot. Like what happened in Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, it was a bomb drop and a half.
Yeah. It just happened out of nowhere. Like, people are obviously waiting for Venom to come into Spider-Man, because you can't have Spider-Man without Venom.
Yeah.
He's one of his biggest enemies. But, you know, so when that post-credit scene came around, everyone was hype as fuck about it. I don't know.
Everyone lost their minds because, so to stop beating around the bush, Venom is, or Eddie Brock is sitting in his hotel room, and Venom goes to show Eddie his past, like of the Clintar. And as that's about to happen, the whole room and everything starts shaking, and then
A bright light.
boom, bright light, and you see
The
Eddie
hotel
Brock.
room has completely changed.
Yes, everything's completely changed. You see on the TV Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and Venom says he looks tasty. Like, they said that it was not canon, like he was not a part of Spider-Man's universe, and them to just bang, drop that in.
Yeah.
Like it was just a, little post-credit scene. No, that was a fucking...
That was a bomb drop and a half. And if they can lie about that, who's to say that Andrew Garfield can't lie about him being in the movie? Because...
Andrew looked like he was very nervous when he was talking on the interviews.
Fucking hell. Have you seen Brie Larson and how she denied being Captain Marvel?
No.
It's great, just the little footage we've seen so far. I don't suppose you can talk about a character named Captain Marvel, can you, Brie?
Who?
Captain Marvel. It's a very well-regarded recent character.
Doesn't Chris Evans play that?
No, that's Captain America, actually.
Oh.
Oops.
She played it off so well. Like, Tom Holland needs to be taking notes here because she played it off so fucking well. So she played off like she had no idea about the MCU altogether, or Marvel in general. That is smart as fuck. And then out of nowhere, jokes, I'm actually Captain Marvel.
I still got a feeling that Tom is being coerced. I feel like that's the inside joke in the little group of Marvel that they all giggle about. Oh, quick, Tom, say this. Tom, drop that bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I got a feeling that there's no way he spoils that much. Like, he's a young dude, there's no way.
I think Mark Ruffalo is in the same boat. When it comes to when he live streamed the first 10 minutes. Yeah.
Infinity War? Is that
Was
it?
it Infinity War? He live streamed the first...
he dropped the bomb of the end.
Oh, yeah.
Before it even come out.
That was one hell of a spoiler to drop. I don't know whether Marvel would actually want them to drop that. But when he live streamed the first 10 minutes of, I think it was Ragnarok?
I have no idea.
He live streamed the first 10 minutes of one of the Marvel movies. I think that was planned. 100% planned.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's 100% set up. And Tom Holland as well, dropping everything that he dropped. I think it was a massive setup as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Maybe in the beginning it wasn't. But then, after a little while, they're like, how we announced Spider-Man 2 and 3. Like, who didn't know that there was going to be a Spider-Man 3? I mean, come on. Like, I know Spider-Man has a past of movies shitting themselves, but...
And then poor Andrew copped it bad.
Yeah, he copped it bad.
Actually, he really did cop it bad on that set. He said he only got 4 hours of sleep, that he dealt with a whole bunch of cuts. Like, in The Amazing Spider-Man, there was supposed to be MJ. Yeah. And they literally cut all of MJ's parts out.
That's fucked.
I get it, Gwen, cool. But MJ is MJ. Everyone knows MJ. They just cut that out. Especially with the scene that was cut from the end.
Yeah.
Fucking Peter's dad didn't even die.
Yeah, and they cut that out. That makes me mad. Release the MJ cut.
Yes.
Release the MJ cut.
But legit though, they took so much, but apparently they did a lot of... The director tried to take control and tried to mess with things. And apparently that's how it came out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. That the director or the people that were making the movie just kept messing with stuff and kept putting the input in and just...
Changing everything. And
I reckon that's why a lot of people didn't really go on Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay, enough sidetracking. Let's just get to the point now. What we're all here for, what each Spider-Man has done differently and better in each areas. Alright, firstly we're going to look into Tom Holland. Now when we look at his strength, right, it's not the most impressive thing that we've seen in all the live action. Maybe he is the strongest, we just haven't seen it yet. But, he has done a lot of things that are very impressive. Like, he has managed to go up against Thanos and actually, even with the gauntlet, actually managed to do something to him. Which I guess is, that says a lot. But I still believe that when it comes to his strength, he hasn't showed the full capabilities that someone of the likes of Toby has. Because in the first... or the second, I remember that he held up half a fucking building, which is a lot of strength, and that takes a lot. And I think that shows that he is the strongest.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Toby is the strongest one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think probably the best fighter is Actually, I was going to say Andrew, but I don't know, because Tom can hold his own. He can if he needs to, and he probably has had training, but I don't think we've seen anything.
Yeah.
Including all along those lines. But, as you know, Andrew's my favourite, and always will be my favourite.
Yeah.
I just love the way he played Peter. Yes, he was a bit cocky, but also like that side of him. Because if you're the nerd, if you're the photographer in school and you're getting picked on by like the biggest bully out,
And suddenly you get powers.
yeah, you get powers, you're so much stronger, you can do all this crazy shit that no one else can. Like, I'd be flexing on him.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it is. Like, it's natural human nature to want to get back at the person that's picked on you.
2 seconds. I forgot to plug in the computer.
How dare you? But yeah, like, I would be as well if I was getting picked on. And I had the powers to give back my bullies.
Yes.
I would.
I feel like he is more relatable. Because the thing about Spider-Man is he's meant to be a relatable character. He's not meant to be this, like, you know, it's literally in the name, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like, he's just meant to be a dude who randomly got abilities. And I feel like in Tom Holland's one, it's evolved to so much more than that. Like, he's an Avenger now, and, like, he's so much more, and, like, you know, there's also the talks of whether he's going to become the next Iron Man, and, like, he's evolved so much more beyond this friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which in some areas, yeah, that's great. But when it comes to his roots of just being that guy who was meant to be relatable to a whole bunch of people out there who were just shy, not really, you know, get picked on, bullied and stuff like that, it doesn't really relate to that person anymore.
I feel like Tom's Spider-Man is out of reach.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, he was swinging around Queens, saving people, blah, blah, blah. But then Tony gave him that new suit that had all that tech and all that kind of stuff.
I'm not hungry anymore.
I feel like Andrews is more, yeah, like you said, relatable. I feel like he's more within range. He feels like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, so did Toby's. He felt like the neighborhood Spider-Man. He was always doing shit in Queens and New York. But with Tom, he got snatched up by Tony. Tony gave him the suit. Tony done all that. But I will give it to Tom's Spider-Man. He actually knows how to make his web fluid.
Yes.
Andrew needs to get it from the cartridges at Oscorp.
And Toby just got it given to him with his abilities, which
Yes.
I still like.
Yes. I love that he has organic web shooters. It makes him stand out among the others.
Yes, but I also feel like out of all of them, he was the one who showed the least amount of smarts, because it's been said that, you know, this is most likely just a comic book version of him, but it says that his knowledge, if he didn't have his abilities, could match Tony Stark's, if not be better than that. I feel like Tobey Maguire, they could have showed more smarts to him.
Oh, yeah. He was the Bully Maguire.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally what his nickname is, because of Spider-Man 3. Like, but one thing that is kind of a pet peeve with me, with Toby's, is he always looks dumbfounded. Like, he always looks like he's lost. He doesn't know where he is half the time. Like, when you see a lot of clips from Toby's Spider-Man, it looks like he's out of place, in a way.
Yeah.
It looks like he isn't in the moment, in the situation.
Yeah.
At times. But I always feel like Andrew's invested and Tom's invested.
They feel like they have a purpose. Like, yes, Andrews does feel more relatable, but they both feel like they have a purpose. So, with Andrew Garfield, it was about keeping his friends safe, saving the city of New York, stuff like that. With Tom Holland, it's about much, much more than that. It's about literally saving the universe, and possibly the multiverse now. But also, it's been this task of constantly proving himself to his peers and to himself that he can be a much better person, an Avenger. Which, throughout all of it, throughout 1 and 2, that is basically what it was about. And also through Infinity War and stuff like that, he was trying to prove to the people around him that he can be a much better person than what he is right now. He didn't want to just be that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He wanted to be a massive superhero.
Well, that's how it is, though. Like, you never want to be the kid that was outside of everything. You always want to be hanging out with the cool crew. Like, you always want to be...
Well, yeah.
You want to be holding your own with the people that are up there.
Yeah.
That's just a natural instinct to want to be friends with the people that everyone knows.
Yeah.
And who wouldn't want to be one of the top superheroes? Like,
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you had cool ass abilities, let's be honest, you would want to be an Avenger.
you'd aim for the top. Like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't just be like, oh no, I want to look after these two neighborhoods. You would be like, no, I want to save the world. I want to save the universe.
Yeah.
But this is how it is.
Yeah. It also has Marvel behind them. With the past two, they didn't have Marvel behind them, so because of that, they had limitations. And now they don't have those limitations because you can bring in all of the characters that Sony and Marvel owns collectively, which is what they're doing. They're bringing in Venom, they're bringing in Green Goblin, Sandman, Dr. Octopus, Electro, a fuck ton of people. And then, on the other side of the spectrum, they're bringing in Iron Man, Captain America, people like that, you know, they're bringing in the Avengers. And more recently, they're going to be bringing in Miss Marvel, Monica Rambeau, a whole bunch of these other people to create this massive superhero collectiveness. They're not all going to be Avengers, obviously, but they're all going to have their own individual story.
Even then, like, we still got to see where the Eternals were. We got to find out their story.
Yes.
Like, they were around since fucking years ago.
Yeah, so where were they during Infinity War and Endgame?
Yeah, they were too busy living their normal lives or whatever. But they know about adamantium, though. Because when, I can't remember his name, the dude that's kind of like Superman, the dude that shoots lasers out of his eyes.
Right.
He was in someone's house. And he asks if the table's vibranium, I think he says. And he hits it and it just smashes. So they know about, I think I said adamantium at first. But vibranium, they know about vibranium. So they obviously have some connection either to the Avengers or...
To the X-Men.
Or they know about the metal. So that's going to bring up some questions, like, how do they know about it? I get it, they're galactical beings or whatever, but maybe that's what their ship's made out of?
Maybe.
No?
It brings up a lot of questions, and it also, like, I'm super excited for the future of Marvel. There is a lot to come, and I think that the next Spider-Man movie, which by the time that you see this, you know, it's most likely already out. Who knows? But I believe that this is going to really show Tom Holland's full capabilities.
I'm hoping it does, because I do want to see Tom Holland explored upon.
Yep.
Like,
I feel like this movie is really going to break him down. It's going to bring him all the way down to his roots, especially the fact that everybody knows who he is. It's going to completely destroy his confidence. He's going to be constantly worried about his friends and family, because he's already lost so many people in his family, and including Tony Stark, which is basically a father figure. I reckon this movie is going to completely break him down, and it's going to force him to exert himself to his full capabilities, or at least what I hope is his full capabilities. And I just want to see that happen, because I am siding with Tom Holland here. I reckon that his Spider-Man is the one that is going to surpass all of them, especially the fact that he does a better job at playing both.
I reckon his is going to surpass the other two.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, he has Marvel behind him now. So, they can bring in crazy enemies. They can bring in all sorts of people. Like, they brought in Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos, the Mad Titan.
Yeah. And they're bringing in Thanos' brother, who is played by Harry Styles.
Oh, yeah, that's lovely. I feel like he's going to surpass them two because... Yeah, he's got so much more behind him. He's friends with the Avengers. He has people to back him up if he gets into a fight.
Yeah.
If something's getting too hairy, get Thor to rock up, like...
Yeah.
Or Hulk. Like, Hulk most likely rock up, but...
Yeah. That brings a lot of questions about Hulk, actually. Recently, especially with Shang-Chi. Because in the post-credit scene, it showed Bruce Banner back in his human form. Which, Endgame, he wasn't in his human form. He was in his... Smart Hulk form.
Maybe he'd be able to control it now. Maybe he figured out the equation so he can become Hulk, but Hulk somewhere in his head.
But also, World War Hulk is coming out soon. So I think what happened is maybe he went back to the way he was. And that is going to introduce a whole new version of Hulk. Who knows? Maybe what he had after the snap, it dwindled away. Like, maybe it, like, over time, it slowly drained his body of gamma radiation or some shit like that. And now he's back to his human form, but then World War Hulk is going to bring something else out, or some shit like that.
I reckon how that's going to be triggered is because Bruce was using Hulk's body. Like, he said that was fine.
Yeah.
We don't know this.
Yeah.
He could have just done because he's hated the Hulk. He's never liked the Hulk.
Yeah.
He said he shot a gun in his mouth and the big guy spat the bullets out.
Yeah.
So he's obviously had a grudge against Hulk. So we don't know if he was willingly lending him his body.
Yeah.
So we could see Hulk come back and go berserk because he got manipulated and he got used.
Yeah.
So that could trigger World War Hulk because in the comics, World War Hulk, or World Breaker Hulk, he went to the planet that Ragnarok's based on and he became a gladiator, blah, 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 and he came back to Earth as Hulk.
Yeah.
And he wanted, I'm pretty sure he either wanted to kill everyone or defeat everyone on Earth. So they were like, oh shit, like, he ain't fucking around. Like, he's ready to throw hands.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling that that's going to be the trigger, that he's going to feel like he was used and manipulated.
Yeah. I reckon Hulk isn't going to be happy about the fact that he was rendered useless. Like, yes, he wanted to
have a break.
He wanted to have a break. He wanted to not be used. Yeah, he didn't want to be in the driver's seat. He was sick of always being there and being the one who just fights, you know. And, like, yeah, being thrown around on a leash, being used, yeah. But I think that he's going to get even more mad about the fact that basically Bruce Banner went behind his back and just basically rendered him useless. And that is going to make him mad, I think. And maybe he's going to be like, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck your friends. Goodbye to everyone.
I know, they're involving or bringing Craven into the real... I know, they're bringing him into the game.
Right. So they're not bringing him into live action yet.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Like, that has triggered some. The reason why I love Andrew so much as Spider-Man is because he actually felt like a spider. The reason why I love him so much is because, yeah, he's like a literal spider. He fights like a spider, like when he's fighting the lizard, he wraps him up, does everything, tries to keep him intact, tries to keep him in that one spot.
Yeah.
And the way he was crawling around him, like, it was cool as.
Yeah.
And also, when he first turned, when his appetite's going nuts, when it's going off its head, there's a fly flying around.
Yeah.
And he can't help but grab the fly, and he's sitting there looking at the fly. And I think someone has said this, I don't know if I came up with it off the top of my head, I'm sure someone's said it out there. The way he's just looking at the fly, Andrew is fighting that inner side of him. The side that, like, I've never seen anyone dabble or expand upon him actually being spider-like.
Yeah.
Like, he never had instincts of a spider. Toby's didn't, Tom's didn't. But you see Andrew, he can't help but pay attention to the fly. He catches it and he's just staring at it like...
Yeah.
He wants to eat it because that's the inner spider in him.
Yeah.
That's his natural instinct to be like, fly.
Yeah. I reckon it'd be cool as fuck if we had a version... Like, okay, let's imagine for a second that Marvel went down a horror path, right? And they decided to do a fucked up version of each and every single one of their heroes. I think it'd be mad as fuck to do... Or do, like, flip the characters around. So have all the bad ones be good and have all the good ones be bad. And have someone like Peter Parker get right down into the roots of being a spider with Spider-Man. So, in the comics, there was a version of him where the spider part of him actually mutated. And he actually got...
Man-spider.
Yeah, man-spider. He actually had spider features, but I think it would also be cool if he had, you know, the ability to literally drink blood of these creatures. And, like, basically be like a spider that drains people of their blood and drinks. Because, like... But at the same time, I feel like that's also close to being a vampire. And well, that's Mobius. Morbius, I mean, not Mobius.
Well, even then, he had stingers in the comics. He got so mad one day, I can't remember why, I think he was on, like, death's doorstep, and I think people coming to finish him off. And he lost the plot, and because he was in that much distress, his stingers came out of his wrist. It was like a scene from Assassin's Creed. He had these big stingers and he got sharp teeth. Like,
No.
do you know how cool that'd be to see that on the, like...
In live action.
Yeah, like, the movie screen? Like, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
To see some stuff like that.
But I feel, and this is what I hate, is I feel like if they were to do something like that, they would make it part of the suit. Like, that's what I mean. Like, because I feel that is too gruesome for Marvel.
Yeah.
It's too gruesome for Marvel to literally have, like, bone stingers just shoot out of his arms and teeth. And, like, that's what I love so much about the comics, is it's so much more gruesome. So much more shit happens in the comics. But then you have a look at the live-action movies, and it almost feels like they're suppressed. All of their cool-ass abilities, like, for an example, Wolverine... Let me just open my computer back up. Right. For an example, Wolverine, in the comics, he can get so mad that his vibranium claws can actually get superheated. And they can get really, really hot. You don't see that in the X-Men. And, like, maybe we'll see that now that they're going to do a new X-Men movie. Maybe. I'd love to see that.
But that just brings up a whole new, like, who would be Wolverine?
Yeah.
Because, let's be truthful here. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine.
He's Wolverine. Yeah.
No matter who you try to get, he is Wolverine.
So Hugh Jackman just needs to have a child.
Yes. That looks exactly like him.
Yes, that looks exactly like him in every single way, shape, and form.
Acts the same.
Yes, and then he makes him an actor as well, and then there you go. Because I feel like that was perfect casting. There is no one else that could possibly do that. And I've heard a lot of different people that, you know, they've tried to say, maybe it could be this person, maybe it could be that person, but...
I did like the thought of Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy is a very good actor. Love his work.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever had a bad movie or had a bad appearance in movies or TV shows. I reckon he would be a half decent cast, but can't really now. But like, I reckon he would have been alright as the Wolverine. But there's also, I heard of people saying they want the actor from The Boys, the main protagonist.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
He does look similar to the Wolverine. Like, he does have that facial structure. He could grow the hair easy and grow a beard like motherfucker.
I know, let's do Robert Pattinson.
Oh yeah, lovely. Let's get him. Oh, how much you want to bet they're going to get him in Marvel if that Batman does shit?
I mean, they're probably going to do it anyway.
Marvel just takes actors from DC if they've done it like...
A shit job.
Yeah, or not if they've done a shit job, it's...
If their
they
movie
get a shitty
flopped.
role.
Yeah, if they had a shitty role or their movie flopped. Or if they were just a shit.
Oh yeah, they just steal.
Yeah.
They're like, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Come to the dark side.
Yeah, come to the better side.
Yes.
Yeah, like, I think that Morbius is going to be fucking amazing.
Oh, I'm hoping it is.
It will be. It better be. It will be, right? Okay, getting back to it. So we've talked about each of the different Spider-Men and things that we've liked about the different Spider-Men and some of the things we don't like. I want to get more into the things that I absolutely hate about each and every single one of these. That is what I want to get into. So, one of the things that I can't stand at all about Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is the way that they portrayed him as a lesser smart character, which I talked about before. But he just feels like an average guy who just randomly got abilities one day. And I get that that is technically what happened. But right after he got bitten, it's like that nerdy side of him just disappeared.
Oh, yeah.
Because you saw him with the camera, and he had the glasses, and he had that nerd aspect. But then the moment that he got bitten, it's like all of that went away, and he was just some random guy that worked at the Daily Bugle.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
I just realised, Andrew still wears his glasses, even after he turns.
Yes, he does.
So he still... stays true to the character.
So he's Superman.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like... Does he though?
Oh my god, he literally does a Superman scene. What Toby does. When he's running and he like rips his shirt open, you see the
I remember that!
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, God.
They just nerfed Superman. Made Spider-Man.
Oh, God.
But
yeah, like...
I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like, he... seemed way too cocky for a nerd.
Yeah.
Like even Andrew's Spider-Man was a bit guilty of that. I will admit.
Yeah, but he wasn't that... Like, I feel like if you were to pin, when it comes to cockiness, between Toby and Andrew, I feel like Toby's was worse.
Oh, yeah.
And this isn't just relating to the dance scene that we all know.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Molly Maguire.
Cutting out Spider-Man 3 in general, because I get that him being attached to Venom would have turned his cockiness up to like a level 14. I get that. If you look at Spider-Man 1 and 2, in the Sam Raimi version, you have Peter Parker, who went up against one of the fighters, right? In the ring that he was in. He went up against a fighter. He was super cocky about that. And then when he wasn't paid the money that he was meant to get, he got really shitty about it. He got angry and he got cocky, and when that person ran away with the money, he just let them walk past. And I honestly think that in any one of the Spider-Man, I think that it is necessary for Uncle Ben to die. A bit of a side rant here. I think Uncle Ben has to die in order for Spider-Man to become a hero. Because other than Tom Holland's, the other two Spider-Men that we've seen live action, we've both seen versions of them where they were heading down a much different path. So you have Tobey Maguire's, which I just talked about before. Then you have Andrew Garfield's, where it was in the shop, he couldn't pay for the milk, and he was walking out, some guy stole the money, and, threw him the milk, and he just walked away. If Uncle Ben wasn't there, if Peter Parker didn't have that fight with Uncle Ben, I think that situation would have went down much differently. I think Spider-Man would have been a much different character. Maybe Uncle Ben would have had more of an influence now that he was alive, and maybe Uncle Ben could have tried to change Peter Parker's mind into being a better character, or maybe not. Maybe he would have continued to be a much more cockier character, a much more cockier version of himself. Maybe even the potential to become a villain.
That's the cool thing about, like, the What If kind of series, because they dabble upon things that, like, I wouldn't even think of, like the Marvel Undead, like, comics.
Yeah, zombies.
I was like, holy shit, like, what? I've never even heard of this. Like, they got all sorts of crazy stuff. But one of my favourite Spider-Man, ever since Shattered Dimensions, I first found out about Spider-Man Noir. He is one of my favourites because that's in the dark, like, that's the dark side of Spider-Man. Like, I think he uses guns. Like, there's the Vulture. He literally eats people. Like, it doesn't seem like they fuck around in Noir's world or in Noir's universe.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I like. I like seeing the dark side of characters,
Yeah.
or I like seeing training with characters.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to see Spider-Man in the gym, like lifting like 500 kilos.
Yeah.
Like, just bench pressing 500 kilos like nothing.
Yeah.
Like...
Cut the part where Mr. Incredible is doing with the trains.
Legit, though, like...
Yeah.
But, like, that's... I like seeing training, because then you can actually see their strength. The work they put in to staying strong. You know that they're actually going to have your back and, like... They're going to save you, like...
Yeah.
You don't want to just follow a hero that's like, oh yeah, I'm kind of strong. I got strength, but I don't train.
Yeah,
oh,
like,
that's cool. That's nice to hear.
Yeah, like, I want to see a character... Because, like, okay, the one thing that I hear the most is that if these characters actually trained to the point where they were at peak strength, they would be a much stronger character.
Oh, yeah.
But they just don't train. They just don't do any of this shit. And it's like, well, yeah. And then they go up against this big-ass enemy who's like 15 times stronger than them. And then they're sitting there scratching their heads thinking what they should do. It's like, well, if you trained yourself to be the best possible version of yourself from the beginning, you would have a much better fighting chance. And don't you think that if you're a superhero, the first thing that you would do is make sure you had the best chance possible? I mean, come on. Kingpin doesn't have any abilities. He is just peak human strength.
Oh, yeah.
And he is able to knock Spider-Man flat on his ass. If Spider-Man was to train himself to his peak strength,
oh, yeah,
Kingpin would not have a chance.
But someone could argue that because Spider-Man already has the strength and durability, that he has to roll with people's punches or they break their wrist. Like, he has to move with it.
Which I think is crazy.
And he has to hold back every time he fights someone. Because when Dr. Octopus took over Spider-Man and became the superior Spider-Man, he punched Scorpion's jaw clean up with ease. And he was like, holy shit, like, this whole time he was holding back. I'd feel super disrespected if I was a villain of that person and then I got to see how strong they were. And I was like, oh, so you're just whooping my ass with like 10% strength.
Yeah.
I'd be so mad.
It's like, so I didn't actually ever have a chance against you. Okay.
Oh,
Sweet.
yeah.
Like, if that's the case, and he's just holding back on every villain that he fights, then he's getting his ass whooped for no reason. Like, surely you would have... Like, why would you give them a chance? Because then they get a chance to overthrow you, and then they get the best of you, and then all of a sudden...
you die, boom, all those people are in danger.
Yeah, so it's like, you holding back is literally killing people. That's... Like, okay, that's one thing that I don't like about the comics, is if he actually is holding himself back, then all of those people that he could be taken to the raft are just escape and they're free. Does Electro even have increased strength? Or is it just full electricity-based powers and lightning-based powers?
I don't know, actually. I want to look that up really quick.
Because if he doesn't, then, I mean, he could just punch Electro so hard that his jaw comes clean off, or even punches him that hard that he just dies.
That's the thing that's always, like, bothered me. Because, like, I'm just fucked up. I like seeing people get fucked up in comics.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I like seeing the dark side. Like, in The Amazing Spider-Man, after, if you haven't seen it, number 2. If you haven't seen Amazing Spider-Man 2...
If you haven't seen The Amazing Spider-Man, why the fuck are you here?
Actually, yes. Go watch both of them movies. Amazing movies. Andrew Garfield does such a lovely job. But the one thing that annoyed me is that in that second one, after Gwen dies, Peter literally almost beats Green Goblin. Yeah, he almost beats the Green Goblin to death with his own glider. I find that shit cool. Because you would see him on the brink, like, anyone would be like that.
Mm.
They would be on the brink, you killed my girlfriend, like, what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose the fucking plot, I'm going to murder you. But he beats him till near death, and then I'm pretty sure he stopped.
Okay, so his physical strength, he can lift about 500 pounds.
Not
So,
bad.
he
So
does
I
have
think
increased
that's
strength.
half a ton, I think.
Yeah, so he does have increased strength. But if we were to look at Earth 616's Spider-Man and his strength, you would see that his peak strength is so much better. Let's just pull that up for a sec.
Actually, I think they did make him stronger in the movies.
No, 215,000 pounds.
Oh!
Spider-Man, he is shown to easily swing a 3-ton wrecking ball using steel chains. Okay, so he has the ability to swing around a ball that weighs 3 tons. So I think it's safe to say that he's stronger than Electro, which means that this is one of the inconsistencies that I hate, is you have these characters that are so strong, but yet for some reason, a character who's literally just human with a couple extra abilities, right? Okay, yeah, Electro has increased strength and he has electric-based powers. Get it. I get it. But someone here, who I'm reading, has landed a jet that is estimated between the weight of 175 to 215,000 pounds with ease? How the fuck does Electro even stand a chance? The moment that Spider-Man punches him, he should be gone.
I think that's 215 tons, I think it is.
Yeah.
If I'm doing meth. If I'm doing meth correctly.
If I'm doing meth correctly, then maths works.
Yes.
If Spider-Man has this much power, and this just goes beyond Spider-Man, because there are so many characters out there who have unbelievably strong abilities, they get bested by a literal human. Like, there are people out there that are humans with just a cool ass suit. Like Shocker, isn't he? Like, he doesn't have any abilities, he just has a suit.
He has tech. I don't think he has ability.
Yeah, he just has cool ass tech. Okay, I get that. He has cool tech. Awesome. But, technically speaking, he should be bested by Spider-Man if Spider-Man just gets the right blow in.
Oh yeah,
So,
just bang. Tiny bit of strength, boom.
Spider-Man doesn't need to kill him. Spider-Man, come on, he can punch him hard enough to the point where he knocks his lights out. He can swing around a fucking 3-ton wrecking ball.
I think Spider-Man just likes to pick on his enemies. Because he's
Well,
known
he
for,
is cocky.
He's known for his wit. Like, he's always, like, spitting out roasts. Like, he
Yeah.
can throw them shits out quick as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, he could knock them out easy.
What if Spider-Man is secretly evil? Like, what if he's just a full-blown psychopath and he likes playing around with his food before getting it?
That does make sense.
That's why, like, yeah, he says that he cares for the people and all that, but what if that's just a ploy? What if, in reality, he just wants to, he does all these quips, he gets his enemies mad, he makes them think that they're out on top, and then he just takes them down like nothing. It's a thrill to him, the thrill of the chase. That's why he lets humans best him. Humans in which he could kill with a punch. He just lets them punch him and everything. He rolls with their punches, he let everything happen. He lets them believe that they have a fighting chance, and then completely destroys their hope.
That does kind of make sense, but I reckon that is dabbling in the bully side. Because he was being picked on, like, would always be a smart ass, this and that. And he always had to use his wit against the big, dumb, strong person.
Yeah.
And now when he's the big, strong person, he's like, alright, sweet.
No,
He's like, I'm gonna fuck with you. I'm like, I'm gonna pick on you, make you feel like shit, and then I'll whoop your ass just to add on top of it. I can see what you mean. But still, alright, I will admit, Toby is probably the strongest Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know, it's very two-sided. I feel like Tom has showed a lot of strength, especially in the second movie of his. But so has, like, Toby. Toby's lifted a fuck ton of weight.
Yeah.
And he's stopped a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to say who's the strongest. Because we haven't seen them to their full abilities. It's just what we've seen so far. Because, obviously, all of the movies that we have, they were under the assumption that there was going to be another one. So, The Amazing Spider-Man, there was going to be an Amazing Spider-Man 3. There was going to be a Spider-Man 4. There is going to be a No Way Home, a Spider-Man 3 for Tom Holland, but that also had, there was shit thrown in the water and all that. Everything went south with that as well. Because of that, we have these limitations in place. We can't see what they would have been at their full strength, unless that's exactly what No Way Home shows. It shows who really is the best Spider-Man, or it's just going to show how well they work together. But I hope it ties up.
I reckon it's going to be the two experienced ones teaching the young ones. Especially Toby. Toby's had years upon years of experience.
Yeah, assuming that they go along those tracks of, like, it wasn't immediately after Spider-Man 3 finished, Bob, you're in this universe now.
Yeah.
Like, if they continue on with the fact that he has been a superhero ever since the start of Spider-Man 1, right up to now, like, yeah, it's 2021, and now he is in this universe from years later. I just hope that they really give Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire an ending. Assuming that they actually show up in the movie, they have to wrap up their characters.
I still reckon Toby's going to die, because he's the eldest, and
you think he's going to have
he's going to have his time. He's been through the rounds, he's been doing this for years upon years.
Yeah.
He's going to pass his wisdom on to the younger Spider-Man.
I think he won't die, but he'll hang up the cape. I think he'll finally give up. Maybe he'll settle down with MJ,
Hoping.
Yeah, hoping. Yeah, I think that's the route that they'll go with him, is they'll show a scene where he kind of hangs up the Spider-Man outfit. What if we have Miles Morales show up? I don't think he's going to show up as an actual, like, a Spider-Man. I think what will happen, if he actually shows up, is it might be a post-credit scene. Because past this, this will be the ending for Tom Holland. But will this be
the opportunity? They literally have the opportunity.
Didn't they show Miles Morales' mum?
I think so,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was the woman in the car.
Yeah. So they have that potential there to bring in Miles.
There's no way they aren't going to add in Miles' mum into No Way Home and not have Miles Morales down the line. Like,
I mean,
it's a cocktail.
I mean, if we want to talk about the strongest Spider-Man, let's leave Miles Morales out, because, he kind of has electrokinesis. Which I hate they called the Venom Strike.
Oh, yeah. That made me so mad. Like, get it. Spider's Venom.
Venom. But there's
Venom
also
was
Venom.
already taken.
Yeah, Venom was already taken, man. Like, and it's not even Venom. It's electricity.
Yeah.
I could understand. Yeah, I could understand if he had Venom or toxin-based abilities. And at that point, I can understand why they call it a Venom Strike. If when he struck the person, he injected them with Venom, that killed them. I want to see a series of people that have superpowers and they're fucked up. Like, they're just... I don't care who does it. This can go beyond MCU now. But I want to see versions of abilities, but, like, more true to what they are. So, let's say, like, every time I've ever seen someone that had electricity-based powers, it's never really been, other than comics, obviously, but live action, it's never really been gruesome, it's never really been fucking horrible. But if we actually saw a live-action version of Electro, where he was full-on, like, killing people on the spot, and, like, filling them up with so much electricity that their heads explode, like, that is what I want to see.
Or he just fries them and chars them.
Yeah. And also, superheroes that aren't afraid to hold back, and they give everything that they've got to take that person down. They don't hold back, they don't roll with the punches like Spider-Man does.
Like, it does annoy me because he obviously does take big hits from big, heavy hitters. With anyone else, like, if they do manage to land a punch, oh no, you have hurt me. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be so mad knowing I can't actually hurt him.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
if he wanted to, he could break my wrist without
Yeah.
him even doing anything. I'd be so mad.
Yeah, he just rolls with the punch and pretends like it actually hurt him when it doesn't. That's...
Alright, so I do love Toby. Toby has a very big place in my heart. Nostalgia reasons.
I'll always have a part for
Oh,
Toby. Yeah.
Toby was the first Spider-Man.
Yeah. But he's not my favourite.
Oh yeah, nowhere near my favourite.
Yeah.
But he is the strongest. I probably... Well,
From what we've seen so far, he's the strongest.
yes.
Yes.
I reckon he's the strongest so far.
Yeah.
Andrew is the most spider-like, and I reckon probably the smartest,
Yes.
and also the quickest.
Yeah.
I reckon he has them three going for him. Tom is more comic accurate.
Yeah.
He's more of the nerdy, oh no, what am I going to do?
He feels more teenage-like.
Yes.
Because, yeah, he has that, like, rebellious stage, but the rebelliousness is, like, to prove himself, where the other Spider-Mans, well, Sam Raimi's Tobey's Spider-Man was already at a point where he was older. He wasn't, I don't know whether it was meant to be a teenager or not, but it really didn't feel like that. There was also the fact that, in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, it was almost like he was forced to grow up quickly because of the events of Uncle Ben dying. He was a teenager, but then he got these abilities, then Uncle Ben died, then, a whole new enemy came out of nowhere that he had to take down because he created it, which, by the way, goes to show how smart he really is, by literally finishing off a formula that his dad created, turning someone from human to lizard. Like, that goes to show how smart he really is. But beyond that, we have a look at Tom Holland. And it really goes to show that he is just that teenager who's lost a lot. And he still feels like a teenager. He talks like a teenager. He acts like a teenager. He also has a whole heap of responsibility that was just thrown on his lap after the events of Endgame. And he's like, well, hold on a second. I'm not ready to grow up. Like, I'm not ready to take on that much responsibility. Like, yeah, I wanted to be part of the Avengers. But I didn't want to be Tony. I wanted to be one of the biggest people in the Avengers. I didn't want to lead them. And it's like, well... having that much pressure on him really goes to show how much he's actually struggling.
Yes.
And that's why I like his Spider-Man so much. But I don't think he really has anything going for him in a specific area. Because, yeah, you have Toby, who's stronger, you have Andrew, who is smarter, and then you have Tom, who is just better.
I do like Tom, but like I said earlier, he feels like he's out of reach. He doesn't... He feels like the rich kid in school. Like,
yeah,
you can't hang out with them type of thing.
Yeah.
Because they're too prestigious. Yes, I know, he's nerdy, he's, like, relaxed, he's cool.
Yeah.
But he's got all the tech that Tony has. If you wanted to, you could make a new suit like it's a new day.
Yeah.
But with Andrew, he made his suit. He made his web shooters.
Yeah. But,
so did
and Toby,
Tom.
yeah.
And, like, Toby, he made his suit. Still iconic, love it.
Yeah.
And I also love Andrew. And one of the coolest things that I completely forgot about is Andrew's Spider-Man. When he's looking for the lizard in the first one, he makes a literal web down each of the pipes, and he's feeling for the vibrations like a spider would.
Yeah.
If you were to touch its web, it'd be like, oh shit, over there.
Yeah.
Like,
that
was so cool.
Spider accurate.
Yes. Yeah. He feels like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, but, like, even when he had to fly, like, he literally rubbed his lip so he could taste the fly.
Yeah.
Like, because he didn't want to look like a weird cunt eating flies.
Numb.
Oh, you're delicious.
Yeah.
Like, and he was like, alright, sweet, I'm going to do that. Save that for later.
Remember that taste.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of people said, oh, not a lot of people, I heard one person say on TikTok that would be very accurate. The appetite out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like him just eating a shit ton of food.
Yeah.
Because his body has to deal with all that energy burn.
Yeah.
Whatever, because, I don't know, he's like two creatures.
The more energy that you use, the more you need to fill that in. So, yeah. It's kind of like what happened with, talking about DC here for a sec. The Flash. So, in the Flash CW show, he wasn't eating enough, he wasn't getting enough calories in him, and he was running around and using that much energy that he literally just passed out. So, that's funny. If we were to bring all of them together, put them in a line and say pick which one was the best, I'd pick Tom. just because he did feel more accurate comic-wise, and also he does, out of the three, feel more like a teenager, which is exactly who Spider-Man is meant to be. Like, yeah, in the comics, he's not just a teenager anymore, you know, he's obviously older. But in the beginning, he was a teenager, and he felt like a teenager. And, you know, also watching the cartoons as well, and, you know, you see how much, like, he doesn't feel like a really old character.
Yeah.
The others do. Yeah. And it feels like they're out of place because of that. They do have, each of the ones, like, don't get me wrong, all of the Spider-Mans are fucking amazing. And they definitely have things going from that they do better than Tom's, at this point in time at least. But he just feels the most comic.
Who has the coolest enemies?
Sam Raimi. 100%.
I
like,
knew straight away, I know it was coming. That, like, I will admit that Toby had the best villains.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really go on Venom, though.
Yeah.
I like Eddie Brock Venom now. I reckon if they had that Venom in Sam Raimi's, or a version that was similar, then yes. Because, I get it. He was a little bit ripped. But Venom's known for being huge.
Yeah.
He's known for being...
crazy big, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, he's known for being the Venom he is now.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy's
movies. Like that they've split away from the fact that Peter wasn't the first host.
Yeah.
Because, especially that we've definitely seen now that they are from completely different universes. I mean, like, I'm assuming that's what happened with everything that happened in the post-credits scene. If that's the case, then Peter Parker couldn't have been the first host. Unless it was a version of Peter Parker from that universe where he didn't get any abilities. And, like, he kind of just got that. But I feel like they're not going to do that. I feel like it's going to be... Eddie Brock was the first host to really achieve symbiosis, whatever they call it. He was the first perfect host. And that is not what the comics portray, because it was always Peter the first host. And will we get to see Tom wearing the Venom suit?
I don't know. I've seen some clips, or I've seen some screenshots of Andrew's Spider-Man with it. And I was like, he does seem like the darker character.
He does.
Like, he is broken from his woman dying. Like, I could see him going down the dark route. That'd be cool.
We expect all three Spider-Men to be working alongside him. But what if one of them was the reason why it didn't work?
That'd be cool.
Okay.
And the Venom comes in and helps. They're just swapping around. Boom, bitch. But...
I mean... I'm going to be so mad. Like, okay, there is no way that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are not in this movie.
Well, people said that Toby's pretty much out there just confirming it.
Yeah.
That he's in it. And then there's Andrew. He's sitting there like, no, I swear I'm not in it.
It's like,
blah, blah, blah.
You can't have Sandman, Lizard Man, Dr. Octopus, Electro, and all these other people from all the other different Spider-Men from their respective movies come in and be like, actually, we're not bringing in three Spider-Men. Like, I don't know why they're denying that. Especially now that they've confirmed that Sandman and Lizard Man and the actors who actually played them are coming back.
You don't bring the OG Doc Ock. Mm-hmm. Like, the one everyone loved. You don't bring him.
Yeah.
And Green Goblin.
Yeah.
In it.
Look, I could see that because of J. Jonah Jameson. If they just brought in Doc Ock and they just are like, okay, yeah, that's just a different version of him, whatever, because that version of him is dead. And I think that this is going to be a different version of Doc Ock because, you know, that one is dead in that Spider-Man. He died. Or unless he didn't, but, you know, I'm assuming he did because he was also a good guy in the end as well. He did the right thing. I think, yeah, that if that was the case, I would have been fine with it. I would have definitely turned around and said, yeah, no, maybe they're not going to show up. But then they're like, yeah, Electro is going to be in it, and Sandman, and Lizard Man, and Green Goblin. It's like, really though? Like, you really can't turn around and tell me that those two Spider-Men are just not going to show up, especially with all the evidence we have now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Marvel, why are you denying that?
Andrew's Electro.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx. Toby's Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like being caught with a lollipop stick in your hand and saying that you didn't eat it.
Oh, yeah. And
I mean, come on.
Like, fucking
lollipop. Yeah, your face is all sticky. Yeah. It's like, come on. Like, the evidence is right there. You're definitely holding the lollipop stick. We know. You're
not caught red-handed.
Yeah. Like, you can't pull the wool over our eyes. We see what you are trying to do, and it's obviously not working. Because you turn around and say that's not working, and that they're not going to be in it, and we're like, uh-huh. Right, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. It'll be our secret.
They're trying very hard. Like, you don't sue people over fake shit. You just ignore it.
Yeah.
Like, if it's actually something that important and you're going to lose money over it, then you're going to want to sue someone for it.
Yeah. Like, I get you could sue for defamation because it's like, oh yeah, like,
False.
like, these people aren't actually going to show up in the movie and it's going to affect our ratings and blah, blah, blah. But I feel like Marvel wouldn't actively search for something like that unless it was genuinely going to affect the movie.
Even the guy that played Daredevil, even he was like, no, I'm not in it. But, like, he pretty much got backed into a corner and he was struggling. Like, he was grasping at straws to say, no, I'm not in it, I swear.
Yeah, it's like Jessica Jones has even been confirmed to come back now, I think. It was either Jessica Jones or Luke Cage. No, Punisher.
The Punisher.
So it's Punisher, Iron Fist, which I actually heard about Iron Fist. So remember how I told you they're changing characters?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Danny Rand's coming in, and they're going to finalise his character off. But then they're bringing in a completely different guy. It's not going to be Danny Rand. It's going to be someone else of Asian descent, which I'm pretty sure there is a comic about someone who actually is of Asian descent who becomes Iron Fist. So I think he might pass that mantle on to someone else, because for those of you that have seen the Iron Fist show, he is able to transfer his power to other people.
And I don't really go on the actor for...
Yeah.
Like, I did think he was cool until I found out, I'm pretty sure I heard that he was very lazy and he didn't want to do the fight choreography. He just wanted to be the Iron Fist and not know fuck all about martial arts.
Yeah.
Like, Shang-Chi was fight. Like, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Because it had actual martial arts. It wasn't just, oh yeah, bang, 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 like fucking power.
Yeah.
It's no.
Yeah.
It's actual skill required to fight.
Yeah.
Even then, if they made him Iron Fist, like Shang-Chi Iron Fist, like, that'd be dope. Like, fuck that dude off. Because, yeah, I heard he was a douche, I think. Like, not many people liked him, and the choreographers were like, oh, we gotta do this, this, and that. And he's like, no, I don't want to do it. Like, why go for a role that requires martial arts and you don't want to do martial arts?
Yeah. I also, if I'm being honest, Danny Rand is a Wish version of Oliver Queen. And I don't say this usually because DC usually does everything wrong. But if we look at the CW's or Arrow and we have a look at the Marvel Netflix Iron Fist, they're very, very close to each other. Like, obviously, like, not with the routes that they took with one having a bow, one literally having superpowers. But their backstory. They both got lost because of an accident.
Yeah.
They both ended up getting stuck in a situation that they really didn't think they were going to get stuck in. And they both ended up coming out with much more knowledge than before, with this need to protect everybody. And it feels like Arrow did that better. It felt like DC actually had the upper hand here. But Danny Rand and Iron Fist just didn't. It just felt wrong. It didn't do it right. I can understand why. Yeah, I can understand why the first season did horrible. Second season did a bit better, but obviously it wasn't enough to keep it going. And I reckon the reason why they cancelled all the Netflix shows is because they wanted to bring them to Marvel, like they're doing now, and also because at that point Disney Plus was coming out. So
wasn't Lucifer seen in a movie or in a show?
Yes, he was in DC. Because, technically speaking, Lucifer is from DC. So Lucifer's from the DC universe, right? But not the version that you see in the movies. So, obviously, comic book version, much more darker, much different. Yeah. He wasn't a detective. He didn't, he didn't fall in love with a character. It was completely different. And they were going for a different route to begin with. But then they decided to go down an alternate route. And they completely changed the character. But, yes, that's why he did have an interaction with Constantine.
I was literally just about to say that one of my favourite characters from DC is Constantine.
Yeah.
Yes.
He feels like Doctor Strange.
Yeah, but he's like Doctor Strange.
But with dark magic. Yeah.
Like, he knows all the bad shit you don't do. He's like, yeah, no, I can do this.
I need to see a crossover between Constantine and Supernatural.
I'm pretty sure they've done that.
Really?
I'm pretty sure...
And I missed this?
I'm pretty sure Constantine is in Supernatural. That's like one of the first places I heard of Constantine.
Okay, well, I need to watch this then, because, like, I haven't seen all of Supernatural, and
I started rewatching it, and I was like,
I heard the ending was horrible.
oh, I haven't seen it.
I heard that the ending was really, really bad because my mates watch it, and they said that, like, just watch the second last episode. Don't watch the last episode. They said the second last episode is the true ending. So I'm like, yeah, but now I need to watch the last episode to see how bad it went.
Oh yeah. But yes, I do love Constantine. He is one of my favorites from the DC universe. I will admit, DC does get a bad rap, but
it does. But they also do bad.
like they are guilty for having some pretty
like
shitty people.
The way that they ruined it by introducing time travel, and I was worried that Marvel was going to do the same, but they fucking didn't. Like the Loki TV show.
Oh, yeah.
And everything they done, like, even to the point where everyone was like, okay, but there are so many other ways that it could have gone down in Endgame where they actually could have kept Iron Man alive. It's like, yes, but if you watch Loki, then it shows that that was the prime existence. That was the only way that there was ever actually going to be, because if they strayed away from that point, then the TVA would have came in, and they would have reset the timeline and made sure that it went that way. There was only ever one way it was going to work, and that was the way that it happened in Endgame. It was not going to happen any other way. And now that the TVA is, and everything that's going on with Loki is crazy, and there's the multiverse now and everything, yeah, you could argue differently. But still, at the same point, this is the version we saw. This timeline is still existent. And this is the timeline we're seeing. And that's what I like, is Marvel has got time travel down very fucking well, and they're doing a very good job at keeping time travel down in check. DC didn't. Basically, every single one of their characters has the ability to travel through time. I mean, the Flash, a guy that runs really fast, can run so fast, faster than the speed of light, to the point where he can open up a wormhole to any given point in time. Like
Batman
has traveled in time before. Like, yeah, like, he's human, and he travelled back in time. I mean, come on. Like, Marvel just did it right. They're like, no, not every... Like, if you genuinely try and search the amount of people that can actually travel through time, you don't come up with a very big list for Marvel. But then you search up in DC which characters have travelled through time, and you find out those that don't even have time-based abilities have travelled through time. Because, why not?
Yeah.
And I hate that with DC.
You feel like no one's grounded.
Yeah. It's like... And it honestly feels like what happens with... the Vampire Diaries. It's like if someone dies, you never actually know if they're dead, because someone can just go back in time and just bring them back to life.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, with Marvel, that's never going to happen, especially with the way that they've told time travel. Is if you were to go back in time and change something, you would just be creating a new split reality. Like, the past would now be your present.
I will admit, Superman is like fuck off strong. Like,
oh yeah,
like
yeah.
There was an old TV show, I'm pretty sure of it, and it has Superman holding up something. I don't know what it is, but he's holding up something, and apparently it's like 8. Well, I can't remember the number, but I'm gonna say just because fuck it, 800 quintillion tons.
Yeah.
And I was like,
it was a crazy big number.
I was like, excuse me, like quintillion tons.
Yeah.
Like just 1 ton is enough for humans.
Yeah.
Like
that's hard enough for humans to lift. Yeah.
Like even like fucking 200 kilos. Like only powerlifters can lift shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't actually know, but I haven't done research on it. But like,
point is, like, lifting up a ton is already impossible.
Oh yeah, and he's lifting up a ridiculous number.
Yeah.
Of tons
because of the sun.
Oh yeah. Legit, like
that's it. Like, I get that some people argue that Krypton has a higher... their gravitational pull is higher, so when they comes to Earth, it's different. It's like when people go to the moon. I get that. But come on.
Oh, yeah.
There's...
Surely their gravity isn't that strong.
Yeah. I mean, come on. And obviously, like, seriously, the sun giving him the ability to shoot rays out of his eyes? Really? Come on. And I mean, like... He is definitely overkill. And talking about overkill and people like Superman, Sentry.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah.
I was waiting to see if you were going to...
Yes, but Sentry is going to be for another video, because that is a whole can of worms I don't want to open up yet. Okay. Well, it has been an hour and 30 minutes. I think this is a good place to wrap this up.
Yes.
Yes.
See you in the next one.
Fine. Okay, so just to conclude everything, I believe that Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man out there, and that he, from this point in time, No Way Home isn't out yet. And I believe when No Way Home comes out, it's going to show a side of Tom Holland that shows he is going to be the best Spider-Man to ever exist in the live-action series. Until Miles comes through. That is.
But, in my opinion, Andrew is my boy. That's...
No, he's not!
He's my favourite. Because he's just so much sexier. No, but he legit feels like a real Spider-Man. Like a cross-species genetic motherfucker. Like,
he does seem like he is both parts. And I've got to give that to Andrew. I've got to admit. He does seem more like a spider with Spider-Man, while Tom Holland does just seem like a cool acrobatic kid who can shoot strings out of his hand.
oh yeah, pew. But I will give Tom, though, he does know how to make his own web fluid.
Yes. Which I'm sure Andrew eventually made his own web fluid, but in the beginning he stole it from Oscorp.
Oh yeah, I always loved those little characters. I was like,
I want one, yeah. I always thought that, like, you know, I could, like, buy one online and have it, like... Did you see the guy on TikTok who actually made one?
I've seen a bunch of web shooters.
He actually, like, he made an actual web shooter and it, like, shoots out, like, a suction cup and it actually, like, sticks to a wall and you're like... Yeah.
I've seen one guy, he sprays, I don't know if it's melted plastic or whatever it is, it's something, but he sprays it, and it looks like web, but I think it can only shoot about from, like, here to the microwave.
I love it.
He can spray it, but it actually sticks things. Like, he put a lighter up against something, or up against, like, a glass panel, and he webbed it, and it was stuck there.
That's cool.
And I was like, it actually looks like web, and it's sticky. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I was like, we're slowly developing as a human race to get powers.
We're slowly getting there. Yes. Okay. Well, we are going to end it here. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe as well to let us know that you want to see more content like this.
And hopefully you watched all the way through.
If you didn't watch all the way through, then you're not seeing this point right now, which fuck you. I'm leaving. I'm done. You know what? I'm done. Fuck this. I clicked stop!